Really excited to introduce Joanne Moretti. She's the Chief Marketing Officer for Jabil. Previously, she was at HP and built their sales university, and was also the Chief Marketing Officer at Dell Software. And prior to that, spent some time at Computer Associates as well. So I'll hand it off to Joanne this time. Thank you.
All right, thanks so much. And thanks for having me here tonight, Tag. I'm coming to you from the other side of DecisionLink, actually as a board member. So thank you to our customers who sat up here and told your stories and how you're using the DecisionLink tool. We really appreciate your business and your testimonial. So I'm going to come around to the other side and talk to you like one of their board members, because that's my function. Actually, I've left Jabil and I've left the corporate world altogether after 30 plus years. As of 7 days ago, I retired. Things in the last few months. One of them was to become a U.S. citizen, because I'm originally from Canada. And I voted, so I did the right thing. I did my civic responsibilities. But yeah, so I'm going to do a little consulting, and that's my little consulting company name, but really focused on these board seats, gyms, and a couple of others. And I'm really excited to take 30 plus years of sales, marketing, and product management, combine it all together, and help Jim's company move the company forward. And I'm coming at you from a kind of a different lens or vector. A lot of people in marketing come from agencies, right? They're up there at Ogilvy's and they're designing branding strategies and all this kind of cool touchy-feely and ads and stuff like that. I'm a real sales, product, and marketing person. I came from the customer side, and so I come at it differently than your typical marketer comes at it. Okay, I get the customer needs. So first of all, I'm going to show you an infographic with my background, but what I want to tell you is this presentation is about helping you with some tools. So take notes or ask me for the presentation later and I'll give it to you. I'm going to give you my 30 years of stuff. Here, some of my favorite value selling stuff and breaking through what I call the glass ceiling. So who am I? So I always start with my family. I'm a Canadian US person, started up in Canada, lived up there for 40 plus years with my family. Go around that curve there. I went to CDI College up in Toronto. My daughter went to the UT Austin for undergrad. She's now at Baylor doing her law degree. And my son's a senior in high school. So I like to tell people who I am. And I want you guys to keep this infographic and use it, because this is about branding yourself, making yourself known to your customers and to your market and who you're selling yourself to. Cheryl was selling, internally and externally. So it's good to create your brand. So I started off at the CIBC as a systems engineer. That was a big bank up in Canada. And I moved on to CA, and I spent time, just like everybody else in the room, I think, at CA for a number of years. Pre-sales, account management, I did sales VP, I was the general manager for the sales team up in Canada, then I got US West responsibilities, so I just kind of kept going up the sales ladder, if you will. And then I moved from sales, after 20 some odd years, into product marketing. All right, so now I started to understand how to put the message together and the value proposition together, because I always bitched about it. I always complained marketing was never giving me the right marketing materials to sell our value proposition. So they said, Joanne, put your money where your mouth is. We're going to put you in marketing, and you're going to create the value propositions that are out in the market and that the sales team take out to the marketplace. So I did that for a few years at CA. I then went and did this really cool job for 2 years at HP and built their HP Sales University. So I took all that 20 plus years of work that I did at CA, wrapped it up, and put it into a curriculum, and actually worked with Charlie Thaxton. Is Charlie still here? There you are. And he helped me at the HP Sales University, does a lot of curriculum design. And that was all about value selling, and we didn't have DecisionLink back then, but I wish we did. I really wish we did, because we did it manually, like Bob was talking about. Went to Dell, and my last gig of my career in corporate life was at Jabil. Now, this is where things got interesting. These guys were really good at selling to procurement. Too good, in fact. I called them, being stuck in procurement jail. They were literally stuck in procurement jail. They weren't allowed to go and sell anywhere else in the organization. Even though we had a lot of value to offer customers, we were selling on price. Because what did Jabil do? Jabil makes circuit boards. Jabil makes the back of smartphones. We do 200,000 smartphones a day for a big, big smartphone company, right? We build those in China, got 180,000 people in the workforce building stuff for other companies. But we were always negotiated down to the ground. So I took all that value-based selling and a lot of the stuff that DecisionLink is talking about and taught Jabil how to sell value. I started in 2014, and we were a $15 billion company. I left on October 31st, and we're a $22 billion company because we learned how to sell value. Supply chain management solutions, so people could track their supply chain and understand where all their parts were at any given time. Manufacturing, engineering. We went beyond just printing circuit boards for companies and building entire integrated solutions. And that took a whole transformation of the company. We moved from a contract manufacturer to a solution company in 4.5 years. And we had to teach people that sales motion. They weren't used to that. They were afraid of that. They were like, I can't go talk to the business guy. I'm going to get shot by procurement. No, you're not. Not if you sell value. And I'm going to show you the trick that did it. I'm going to show you the tool that did it in a second. All right, so here we go in my own little consulting company as of November 1st. So that's my career path. So this is for you. Take this tool and show people what your career path was so you can demonstrate to them why you bring value to them. It's a great tool to introduce yourself. All right, the next thing is some of the board things and other work that I've done. DecisionLink being one of them, my social network, right? And I talk about, who I connect with and the influencers and influence the influencer strategy. I use that a lot. My personal mission, my professional mission is empower sales. My personal mission is to empower women. I give them the same presentation, except there's 10 tips. I'm only going to give you 5. All right? And then I show them some of the awards and recognition. So use this tool, this template, to build out your value proposition as an individual because you bring value to your customers. Your knowledge, your experience, what you've done, who you've helped. You helped one customer this way, you can help this customer maybe in a similar fashion. Capture your personal value on your personal infographic and use it as your calling card. Okay? So that's tool number 1. So build and grow your personal brand. Right? What is a brand? Let's talk about that first and foremost. So we talked about your personal brand, but in terms of your company brand, what your brand is not, is it's not a logo. That's not your brand. It's not the colors, it's not the fonts or how cool your slide looks or how your advertising looks in the magazine. Your brand, your company's brand, is the promise that they make and the promise that they keep. The more you make promises and keep them, the more you build equity into your company's brand. The more equity you build into your company's brand, the stronger your company becomes. And it's more recognizable. So the brand is not fonts and colors and pretty commercials and cool this and cool that. It's about you in the field selling and delivering value and keeping your promises. And that's how you build trust and credibility and grow your company's brand as well as your own. So it's a promise of value. Promises made, promises kept. Net, as an individual working for your company, have certain standards, have certain service levels, get back to people while you're still driving, back to the office from the meeting. Get things done as your follow-ups, right? Prove to them that you're always providing value and you're following up and they're the center of your universe. Make every customer feel like they're the center of your universe, right? And again, build that personal brand and that personal infographic to help you as well. So your brand, your company's brand, and what it is and what it isn't. Build yourself a personal network and build yourself a personal board of directors. Everybody says, oh, get a mentor. Yeah, get a mentor. That's really important. Don't have just one, though. Have many, especially inside your customer accounts. They say find a coach, find a mentor. Absolutely. Find out who's going to help you in that account. Who's going to help you do the selling? Because you got to get into places that aren't easy to get into. So if you find advocates inside your account, great. Find multiple advocates. Don't just say, oh, I've got this great relationship with this customer. Yeah, it's one guy. And if that guy goes away or he changes jobs or whatever, you're toast. Find multiple contacts in different parts of the organization. A lot of you sell to IT. Get outside of IT. Start to learn about the business structure, the business people, and how they create value for their customers and what's important in their strategies. So build yourself a personal board of directors. And how can you help them as well as how can they help you, right? It's a two-way street. So find out what's important to them and help them, right? Synthesize the things that you hear from this board of directors and then act, right? Get different perspectives, then make up your own mind. That's why I like to have a board of directors instead of just one mentor, right? Because then you get different perspectives. You ultimately do what you say you're going to do, but it's good to get all the data points from different people. All right, the number 3, and we've been talking about this all night, sell value. How? How you sell value is you figure out what's important to these business guys at the executive level, not just the CIO. The CIO only has 2% of the overall spend of the company. The business leaders are the people that are investing in big capital projects trying to grow the business, right? You got to figure out which capital project is driving that CIO's initiative and go sell to the guy that has the real money. Because the CIO is just keeping the lights on. He's just making sure everything's running, service levels are met, mean time to failure is so much, mean time between failures is so much. He's got those kind of KPIs. There's business guys that have real KPIs. You got to find, and real money. IT has no money. They don't. So you got to find out where the money is, and then find out, and then learn the language, their language. Speak in their language. Not just ROI. ROI is really important, and a CFO loves ROI because he's trying to decide which investments he's going to put money into, right? So CFO is going to go, okay, that one's going to give me 35%, that one's going to give me 20%. If I do this thing that Joanne in marketing is saying, I'm going to get 15%. Okay, I'm going to go with this one. That's ROI, and that's important to CFOs. But executives are measured on other KPIs, things like market share growth, right? Things like expanding revenue and expanding margin and growing top line. EPS numbers are important. EBITDA numbers are important. The valuation of the company is important. ROIC is important to some executives. Find out what makes the executives on the business side tick, and you will find the Holy Grail, right? You will find what's important to those people and then start speaking in their language. This is a great book. I've read it 5 times. It helps me speak the language of business. And from a woman's perspective, when you talk in the language of business, ladies, there is no gender. Gender's gone. It's out the window. You've leveled the playing field. You're speaking in the language of business. You're not a man, you're not a woman, you're a business person. That's what you need to do. Okay? So this is a great book. I recommend you figure it out, take a look at it, and then learn how to apply it. The next, number 2, sort of key point or key tip is plug yourself in to their strategy. Mark said, help them with the strategy. How? How am I just going to get invited to sit down and talk to someone about their strategy? How the heck does that happen? I've got to prove that I'm listening, that I'm paying attention, and that I have value to add, and that I'm going to accelerate their strategy in some way, shape, or form, right? So listen, go on the earnings calls, understand those strategies and those KPIs and those financial metrics that make them tick, and then start mapping it out. And I'm going to show you how to map it out. First thing is, right? What does the board expect? So what does someone like me expect of Jim in terms of every dollar he spends in invested capital? What kind of return am I expecting? 20%, 30%? If I'm a shareholder or an investor, I have a certain rate of return that I want to see in terms of the investments that are made. What is that number? First thing you got to figure out when you're selling to a company, what is the expected return on invested capital? Right? Whether it's private, public, it doesn't matter. You got to figure that out. The next thing you have to figure out is what are those executive KPIs that make people tick, that make or break their careers, right? Whether they're the head of sales, whether they're head of a product group, whether they're head of marketing, what are the key executive KPIs? Some people are measured on cash flow and liquidity. Some people are measured on market share. I was a sales and marketing executive. I had to grow market share, right? I had to grow the brand, so I was measured on these types of things. NPS scores. Others are, measured on how much do we move the needle in terms of customers liking us. EPS, right? Earnings per share. I got to move that thing up. How do I do that, right? So these could be, and you need to map out, and you're going to get this map. So you can use this framework when you're selling. Map that out. Figure out what makes the executives tick. Then figure out, by listening to earnings calls and such, what are the key strategies that they're going to implement to drive cost, capital, or revenue to drive these KPIs? So the next thing you got to do is, what are their executive or strategic initiatives? Map that out. And you can find that in annual reports. You can listen to earnings calls. You can go to town hall meetings. You can figure it out. You can talk to people, okay? The next thing is, once you understand and you validated this hypothesis with a couple of people, is this right? I'm not sure. Did I do this right? Did I capture this thing right? It's just a guess on my part. An engagement will start. Believe me, an engagement will start happening, and they'll start correcting you. No, that's not right. This is really the number. This is really the thing we're focused on. Oh, and this isn't right here. Move that over. So you start an engagement with the customer, all right? And then what are kind of the functional KPIs, right? What do the teams have to do, from sales and marketing, maybe IT and security, line of business leaders? So you start mapping out what are the key drivers to make those strategies move forward, and what is standing between this leader, right, and these objectives. What are the key, I call this the wall of obstacles, right? Once you get to this point, then you can start mapping in your solutions. Don't try solutioning and say, I got the best thing to do, whatever. Because until you understand what the pain point is and how they're going to try to solve that pain point but have failed or haven't achieved that yet, then you can start mapping in your solutions, right? And you might have the perfect solution to address 1, 2, maybe all 4 of them. And if you only address one, that's okay. It's important, right? Map it out. And show them, say, I think this solution XYZ is going to help you solve this IT security problem that you have, is going to help this move forward and grow this particular KPI, and I think we can help you hit that ROIC number. You're creating a breadcrumb trail, right? Now, what the cool thing about Jim's Decision Link tools is it can help you quantify these pieces in here, right? How much can I move the needle? And that's what I love. When I was at HP Sales University, we had to do all this manually. Now it's all automated. Decision Link can help you figure out, take your solution and create the total economic impact of that solution. That's why I joined the board. I love this tool, right? It really helps people understand what you're bringing. Like I said, ROI is nice, it's good, CFOs like it. Business leaders want to know the breadcrumb trail to these KPIs because that's how they make money. And some of them make millions of dollars in bonus dollars. I'm not talking about like 100,000. Some of these executive compensation plans are huge. Stock and cash. If they hit these goals, they could get $1 million, $2 million. I heard one CIO get $2 million once because he hit a certain target in terms of cost savings, right? They are packaged big. They make big money on hitting those big goals. right? But they've got to get through these obstacles, and you can help them, but they don't know that. They don't know how you can help them, and you have to map it out for them. ABC, here's how I can help you reach your goals, Mr. Customer. Right? And if you do that, you're going to win. Because you are clarifying your value to them in their terms. This is the holy grail. This is what helped us grow, not in the millions, in the billions. Right? This is how we transform the whole sales force. At HP, we started doing it at Dell, we started doing this at Jabil, and it's helped them speak differently, get the meetings, knock the other guy out of the way before they were even aware of what was going on. Our competition didn't even know what hit them because we brought these in a proactive, almost provocative way to the customer. And that's what you gotta be. You gotta be provocative. You gotta say, hey, I think I can solve that thing over there. And I think I can help you break through to that KPI. I think I can help you generate $100 million in free cash flow over the next 3 years. Do you know we said that to a customer? They almost fell out of their chair. That level of materiality, that level of return on investment was, unheard of. A vendor coming up to them and saying, we think we can help you generate $100 million of free cash flow in 3 years. And the guy goes, sit down. Tell me how. Right? That's value selling. That's it, right? So this is the tool to help you map it out, and Jim's tool can help you create the numbers and quantify the numbers so you can fill this thing out and bring it to your customers. Make sense? Okay, cool. All right. The other thing is, as a leader, I have one more tip, and I love this guy. He coached me. I've had 4 coaches in my 30 plus. I won't tell you how many the plus is. I've had 4 coaches in my 30 plus years, but I love this guy the best, and he turned out to be my neighbor. I met him on a flight heading back into DFW from San Jose, and he's chit-chatting, and he's giving people his book, and I'm like, who are you? Right? And he goes, oh, I'm a CEO coach. I said, I want to work with you. And he actually helped me build the HP Sales University. It was his coaching and support. Anyways, his book, he's done 38 books, but I like this one the best. Pick it up. It's called Strategic Acceleration. It doesn't matter who you are. You are the CEO of your world. And you need to act like a CEO and plan and share your plan with other people. Right? If nothing else, you'll neutralize a lot of the fears that other people have. Women have a problem with this. Women are like, oh, who's that? What's she going to do? Is she going to take my job? Right? Share your plan. It neutralizes everything. Right? Then the fear goes right down and people start to open up. So he talks about be clear, be focused, and ruthless about prioritizing on 3 or 4 things. And then as leaders, remove the obstacles. So if you're sales leaders or business leaders, get the obstacles out of the way so your people can sell. I added my couple of things to that. Brand your plan, give it a vision, give it a branding, right? Communicate it to people, and then measure it. Measure everything you do. And I have a whole other bunch of templates that I share with people when I'm coaching them on measuring, but measure everything you do and speak in the language of business so your executives understand how awesome you are, right? And talk to them about, hey, I just generated, 1% of your overall top line last quarter. Did you know that, Mr. CEO? Talk to them. Tell them what you do. But when you tell people what you do in your company, quantify it in the terms they understand. So value-based selling is good for talking to customers. It's good for talking internally as well. You start to rise up above the rest. You start to clarify your value to the internal organization. But anyways, he's great. Pick up the book. Really helps you create strategic acceleration for yourself and for your company. So those are my 5 tips around branding and branding yourself and having a focus, around connecting to the value, around leveraging mentors, reading some books that'll help you through this. If you're not an MBA, I think, even if you are, get that book. It's really good, The Financial Intelligence. And that's kind of a couple of the little nuggets that I used in my career. I'm really, just so blessed and feel so happy now to have met my goal and said, okay, I'm done with corporate life. Now I'm going to do my own little thing the rest of my time. So that's it. Those are tips.